Shalom, shalom, and good morning. Let's drink some crow tea and talk about the apocalypse. So Revelation chapter 2, verse 8 talks about Jesus literally being God. John says, "These are the words of he who is the first and the last, who resurrected." This idea of God being the first and the last, repeated in many places in Scripture, but importantly in Isaiah. In Isaiah 44:6, it says that God is the first and the last, the sovereign, the sole redeemer of Israel, and that there is nobody else besides him. So let's go forward then, back to Revelation. When John says that God and Jesus are the first and the last who died and were resurrected, they are one and the same. Now, to be clear, this is not an example of Jesus claiming that he's God, which people debate all the time. This is John claiming that Jesus is God. I mentioned that one verse from Isaiah, but there are many verses throughout the Old Testament where God says over and over again, I am the only one. There is nobody else. Nobody else is beside me. I don't have anybody else here with me that is also in charge, and I am not giving that to anybody else. It seems to me that if something was so important that you were going to send a prophet way later to prophesy about the end of days and what was going to happen, and that there would be a person who would actually be you, but the person who is speaking for you, the person that you send out who is doing this for you, who is completely instrumental in Armageddon, according to the book of Revelation. Why did God never tell us that? And before anybody says it, I know everybody comes in the comments and they say, well, you just don't know how to read the Bible, because there are so many shadows of Jesus in the Old Testament. He's mentioned so many times, but in metaphors and shadows, and you just don't see it. I follow a God who is very, very detailed. If you look at the Torah, it is full of very specific details, down to the minutia. We have very detailed genealogies of all of the important players throughout the Torah. We have genealogies, very descriptive genealogies of all the major players, basically, from the Torah. We have a blueprint of what the ark was supposed to look like. We have very specific details about the tabernacle, exactly how everything was supposed to be, the dimensions of everything, where everything was supposed to be. The God that I worship is not wishy-washy. He is not one to just leave us up to our imaginations. He's very, very specific. So for him to be like, you know what, I'm not going to spell this out for people. I'm not going to tell them this super important thing, this huge part of my plan that is going to just permeate Armageddon. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm just going to hide bits and pieces of it and just sprinkle it like Easter eggs throughout everything that I'm telling them. And then I'm going to let them find it. If they don't find it, I'm going to punish them a lot. But, for the people who do find it, that will be cool for them.